My name is Peter Mutabazi, and I'm adoptive dad. I have three children. Anthony, who is a teenager, who keeps me busy. Brenlyn, who is my daughter, who is the boss of the house at all times. And my little son, Coleman, who is joyful and keeps us happy at all times. Now I'm Known Foundation has three objectives. One, to truly be an advocate for children who are in the foster care looking for a safe and a loving home to be. Second one, to really help teenagers who are aging out. Most time they have nowhere to go. And if we can provide a room makeover that makes it safe and a place called their own, that is the greatest thing we could do. And then foster parents who want to foster but sometimes don't have the resources to help them be the best parents they can be. And that is our goal, to truly advocate, provide, and help those who want to help children. I enjoy being a dad. It was my dream to be a dad, and I never thought it would come this way. And it's truly been a joy to be a dad to the most vulnerable. I was taught how to be a foster parent. I had to go in class and learn how to deal with trauma. But there's one part that they didn't teach me. And I think that it's really impossible to teach someone how to say goodbye. That you get to love these kids. They get to fall in love with you. You get to walk 6 months, 7 months, a year down the road. But when it's time to go, that is a hard one that no one ever warned me. Until I met Anthony. Meeting Anthony wasn't easy. I had seen 11 children go back to their families. And I think for me that left me shattered, shaken. But also, I think it also raised my own insecurities. That maybe I wasn't good enough. And I began to really question myself that maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe that's why God is not giving me the opportunity to be a father in some way. Until that night when Anthony came in, I would say like I wasn't in good mood at all having him. I asked how old he is. I didn't want to know where he came from or what had caused him to be in foster care because I did not want to be attached. And I wanted him to come and go as quickly as possible. So for him to come to my home and he's in my home for 20 minutes and say, can I call you dad? That was hard to swallow, I think, for me. It's not like he was saying, can I call you dad? But in my heart, it was teasing me in some way, something that I've always wanted. And he's a kid comes in and says, can I call you my dad? Of course. I said no, because I knew that was a tease. I had seen 11 times kids come and go. It was a different no. Do not take me in that place where I'm going to regret or where I'm going to feel so down that I didn't want to go there. And then when he insisted, I'm 11, I choose who my father should be. I'm choosing you. I have the right to choose you. In my own heart, no, you're a foster kid. You have no right to choose who. I thought. But then the following day, when that Monday came and it was time for me to say goodbye, the same I have said. Well, I wasn't attached to him. He had been there for just a couple of days. So to me, it was perfect time. You go before I get attached to you. But once I got to know his story, that I knew that he was going to be my son in some way, that something that I've always wanted, that I could sit in right there, And I think most of you have been there. You ask for something, you pray for something, and there it is. And once it's there, you're like, not now, not now. And I think that's how I felt. All of a sudden, he's a kid who is calling me dad. And the foreign money, I got to know that I can be his dad because he had nobody in his life. He had only one option, and that option was to go to group home. And I could not let him go to group home. I had an extra room, I had resources. And first of all, I'd signed up to be a dad. And there's this opportunity for me to be a dad. I could not pass, and I said, absolutely, I would love to be your dad. And that changed everything I ever thought. That when you believe and you faithfully do what you're required to do, that along the way, your dream, what you're looking for, will show up. To me, I wanted to be a dad, and it showed up at my 12th child. To some people, it shows up the first day. The first child you foster becomes your forever family. Every time Anthony called me, whoa, before we go there. When I read that his name was Anthony Mutabazi, truly that changed my life, that his birth certificate reflected my name. And for the first time, I felt what most dads, I'm sure, when they see their first child. To me, I felt like he was just being born there, right there and then. That I was filled with emotions. That I was filled, wow, this is what it's like. And in some way, all the dreams that I've had, all the doubts that I had, they were right there in my face. That it was gonna be okay. That it was possible. The headache and the journey that I had walked prior, I got to see the fruits right there and then. That when you're faithful, it's gonna be okay. Most people ask me, like, Peter, what was life like as a kid? It's hard to remember because my childhood was so bad that I tried to suppress the thoughts of the journey that I had to go through as a kid. I never had a childhood. I never had an opportunity to say, man, I was a kid, like I cannot remember. All I had was to survive. So grew up in a place where there was no glimpse of hope. Everyone around me was poor. So I thought that's the norm of what poverty or what life is all about. I had to contribute so much to my family. For example, I had to wake up every morning at 5 and go fetch water 3 to 4 miles away, one way. If I wasn't taking care or babysitting my siblings were little, I was weeding, growing crops like my mother really needed because she was the only one that can grow crops that we can eat. That means her labor was our food. If she did not, there was no food for us. You go home hungry, but you knew in the following morning you have to redo them again. Walk those miles, go to the garden. But there wasn't really anything to hope for in so many ways. And through that, then I really realized too that my father wasn't really a good dad. Like my father, all I can say, I could hear his steps walking in the house when he's yards away. That's how fearful we were from him, that would open the door before he comes. Because if you didn't open it in time, that door came flying to your face. And the worst part was, I saw how he treated my mom. We had a small house, which was like maybe 600 square footage, 7 members of the family in that space. There wasn't really room when someone was beating the other or when someone was cussing the other. You had everything. I saw alcohol from one end to the other. I saw sex in every way, shape you could form at a very early age. So there was anything horrible. As a kid, I got to witness that. But at the same time, I come from a Roman Catholic that was so religious. I'm not saying every Roman Catholic family is that way, but you have extreme. They do everything they can do Monday to Friday. And on Sunday, we had to be somehow the holiest people you can imagine. And so for me, that was really difficult to understand that. How can you be so mean, but yet say you're religious in some way? At the age of 10, I thought, like, I seriously knew my father was going to take my life. So I went to the bus station downstairs. It was about 3 miles away. And I walked there and I was like, I am going to run away. There's no way I'm going to let my father take my life. I never been 20 miles away. So me asking the lady which one goes the farthest was the way to ask, how far can I go that my father will never find me? I wasn't looking for a better future. I wasn't looking for a better way. To me, it was, how far can I run that my father will never see me, either alive or dead? I know how hard that was to leave my mother. That was really hard for me. It was the only thing that I think I regret to this day, how I made the only parent that I loved feel. But I didn't care anyway. At this point, there was nothing to lose, nothing to gain. Me dead, I was better than alive. I didn't know where I was going, but somehow I ended up in Kampala. I'd never been in Kampala. But this is a big city, and they spoke a different language. So you come from your village where you saw one car a day, and you're in the midst of chaos, where people, cars, everything is just in one place, the chaos. And I didn't know what to do. But I knew there was one thing I could do, survive. And one street kid came towards me, and he noticed that I was somehow hopeless, or I was lost. He's like, hey, do you want to come out? Sure. And I came and walked towards him. And from that day, that became my family, where we had to steal for life. The dignity had been stripped off to most of us street kids. We weren't humans anymore, but we were treated more like stray animals. That's how I felt I was. That's what I smelled like. That's what I looked like for almost 5 years, where I had to be abused in every shape form you could imagine. Until this stranger came in. And he said, hey, what's your name? I mean, literally, that rattled me. You want to know me? You want to know a dirty, little, dirty thief boy. You want to know his name? And that surprised me. And that shook me as well. When I was a garbage boy, he wanted to know me by my name. When I was a thief, just a thief, he wanted to know me who I was. And that is really what changed my life. That he could give despite what I looked like. That he loved me anyway. Well, if a stranger can see the best in me, maybe there's something in me that I can. I don't know, maybe there's something about me that made him to stop. And that the more I had those, the more I thought of that. When he offered for me to go to school, yes, that was a shock. But I think I went to school because I somehow found someone that I can believe in. One human being that I could believe in. One. And in life, I think that's what most of us are looking for. Someone to believe in you at your lowest. Someone to see the best in you, even when you can't see it. The offer going to school, yes, that was ridiculous. It was more like, me go to school? Why? I'm a thief. I am nobody. Why would I go to school? I never aspired to be anything at all. Also being in school, that was really strange. I had never been in a formal schooling. I didn't know how to relate to people. If someone looked in my eyes, I followed with a punch because I thought they wanted to fight. But with time, I realized that these people really cared for me, that they wanted the best for me. Even when I didn't do well in school, they always say, we believe in you. I get a D or an F, they will say, we believe in you. And that's why I excelled. It wasn't the schooling, it wasn't the good grades. It was because people believed in me. People saw the best in me when I could not see myself. And that's what my life is all about. See the best in others. Especially kids in foster care who have been told you're nobody, you're unwanted, you're unloved, you've lost your parent, and you have no voice. That I wanted to give them a voice I was given. Remember, at my lowest, he saw the best. And I think our kids as well in foster care, at their lowest, we can step up and be there for them and give them the glimpse of hope that each one of us need. It took one human being to see the best in me. It took one human being to love on me. It took one human being to say that I mattered. And that's all that I needed. Well, I finished high school, which was really amazing. But then he also introduced me to his family. Then now I had a home to stop and see. I had never sat on a table and see a dad feed or eat with his family. And it was my first time to see that. Wait a minute, this man can sit on the table with his kids. He's not yelling, he's not throwing stones, he's not throwing food. He's actually having a conversation with his kids. When I had an example of what I wanted to be, now I began to dream big. I saw how he treated his wife. I was like, wow, that is strange. Because I saw how my mother was treated. And seeing someone treat their wife, really that gave me a glimpse that I can be that. On how they elevated their kids. The kids would do so well, and I'll hear the mom and dad say, that was brilliant, you did so well, son. That is amazing. Those are the words I never had before. And as they took me in, they changed that for me, that I had the same words. Every time I performed well, he would say, well done. Every time I felt hesitant or I didn't know what to do, he always says, Peter, you're special. You belong here. You're gift to us. You're chosen. I mean, those words, to this day, I can literally hear the sound of those words as they were coming from him or from his family towards me. I matter. And here's the cool thing. Sometimes you change one life and that life changes others as well. He changed me, but my entire family also changed. Because my siblings now say, wait a minute, if Peter can do it, I think I can do it too. My sister, even if she was seen as second-class citizen, I saw her as first-class citizen. That I wanted for her to do so well, that I put her in school and she did so well, and our daughters as well. Because someone showed me how. And that's what our kids need. Someone to show them that they care, that they are special. And it takes you and I to do so. You know, there's no special calling, there's no special healing or what you have to achieve. No, it's you have kindness and you want to see others excel. You can help someone. You can be the catalyst that can change someone's life. That's what someone did for me. And that's what I'm passionate about. Now I'm known foundation truly exists to change life for a foster child, a teenager, me as a foster parent, and others as foster parents, that we can inspire others to truly come alongside and be there for our kids. That's all that matters. That's all there is to be. Do what you cannot do for all and do it for one. You know, statistics say, they say what? There's 450,000 kids in foster care. It's overwhelming to know, man, where do I start? It starts with one. It starts with one. And you never know how that one will go. You know, when I jumped in to be a foster parent, I think in my head I was like, oh, I'm going to foster one child. Well, down the road I've got 32 and I still have more to go. But you never know what you can do to change someone's life. The kindness of one stranger could alter that. Think about the power in being kind, the power in showing love to someone else, the power of showing kindness to someone who would never said it, the power of you doing the best you can to impact someone. Like, I mean, it's mind-boggling on the power when you believe in someone, on how it's gonna take someone somewhere. Like, it's unbelievable. On the little we can do to change someone's life. You never know the potential. You have the potential and the knowledge and the tenderness and the love that you can really bring to help someone looking for it. I have kids. That's all they're looking for. It takes a village to raise a child. And that's why I want to invite you to come and partner with us. Some of you can adopt. Others can give funds. Some can give time for both parents and families alike. Some of you can provide the resources so we can aid those who want to foster. Even with something as extravagant as a room makeover. So when their foster children come home, they know they are wanted, loved, and known. And with complete transparency, I can tell you that 100% of the proceedings of our website goes towards helping those in need.